Hi-ho, true believers. Welcome to another episode of Trundlebed Tales. Today, we are going to talk about what's going on in Laura Ingalls Wilder fandom during June 2026. Welcome to Trundlebed Tales, the podcast about Laura Ingalls Wilder, historic foodways, one-room schools, and other social history. This is Sarah Utoff, the host and creator of Trundlebed Tales. Find us all around the web under Trundlebed Tales and on your favorite social media platform. If you listen or just have an account on a podcast system, please leave positive feedback because it helps people find the show. And today we are going to be talking about what's going on in Laura Ingalls Wilder fandom this month. And yes, I said this month. I try and get these done either before the month starts or soon after. And we are on the weekend of the 13th, 14th, which is halfway through the month and I haven't gotten it done yet. And I'm really sorry, but I'm glad I went ahead and posted the events and got them up there anyway. And hopefully we will be able to get this done this weekend, and I will be working on my July one. Let me see. And I hope by the end of the month. Looking at my schedule, I am not entirely happy that I will get it done before the end of June, but we will sure try because there's a ton of stuff going on in July. In fact, I considered doing just a two-part June, July, but there's so much going on both months. I want to do them separate. Well, first off, birthdays. June 15th, 1884, Laura Wilder is born. That is Almanzo's older sister. And June 13th, 1869, the final child of the James Wilder family, Pearly Day Wilder, was born after Farmer Boy was set, which is why people who only read the books don't know that Pearly Day existed. Anniversaries. On June 3rd, 1849, Charlotte W. Tucker Quiner, which is Ma's mother, is married to Frederick M. Holbrook in Concord, Wisconsin. This was Charlotte's second marriage after she was widowed, and Frederick became Ma's stepfather. And apparently they had a really good relationship. June 5th, 1861, Pa's brother Peter Ingalls married Ma's sister Eliza Quiner. All right, to go through, we're going to count down our events. Pepin, Wisconsin is doing Home at Laura's Place, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. That's always the second weekend, Saturday and Sunday, May through August. And it is actually this weekend, which is why I try and do these early. It's June 13th and 14th. Visit the Little House Wayside in Pepin, Wisconsin on these special weekends to see the cabin fully furnished and reenactors demonstrating the arts of daily living in the 1870s. This is cooperative activity of the Laura Ingalls Wilder Memorial Society, the Laura Ingalls Wilder Days Committee, and the Austin Tea Party Players. It's a really fun event. My travel buddy Kelly and I went last year. I took some film, and you know how far behind I am in my editing. So hopefully that will change. I hope, and we'll get some other videos out about it. So that gets us on to Burr Oak. That is their Laura Days month. This month, it's June 26th and 28th. This is actually the 50th time they have held this event. The original one was in 1976 as part of their efforts to get the Masters Hotel restored and to pay off the mortgage. There were 4 couples in and around Burr Oak who signed on to an actual mortgage to buy this building. And I really am still very thankful for that. It would not be around today because it was in bad shape. The National Guard came in and helped them with some of the basic structural things, and there are ongoing issues. They're going to have special guest, Allison Ongram. I'm sure she's going to have a great time. While my travel buddy Kelly and me are going to be there Saturday and Sunday. So if you're going to be there to see the Allison stuff, look for me. Gonna be there. Smet, South Dakota is also this week having Old Settlers Days. Now, Old Settlers Days is not a Laura related event. It's sort of like their hometown days. And it has been going since just a couple years after the town started. And Laura, this is what Laura and Manly came back to town for. Also, it was to get reacquainted with DeSmet as she started writing the books, but this was their excuse to come back for Old Settlers Day. And if you look at their book about Laura, you're going to find a picture of Laura and Manly sitting in the DeSmet News office. And it's just really a great thing. And it's well worth stopping by if you are in DeSmet. That brings us on to Spring Valley, Minnesota, which has their museums, has their annual ice cream social Friday, June 19th, 2026. And that is a fundraiser that they do for the museum and keeping it going. They did get a placement roof. Sadly, it is not the same roof as style as it had before, but it doesn't leak. So that is great. And they always need more money to keep their church and their other buildings going. So a fundraiser for them is a great idea. If you are near Spring Valley, Minnesota, June 19th, which is Fridays, please stop by and get ice cream. Malone, or Burke, New York, is having Fun on the Farm Saturday, June 20th, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. This is a fun day for kids with traditional games to play, shingle shaving. That's the thing Manly did in the books where they have the blade and pull it up the board to cut it into shingles. Farm animals in the barn and around, and more. Awards will be given for the children's art show and essay contest. Honorary Almanzo and Laura will be announced. That's their Little Miss Laura contest. The Wilder buildings will be open with guides or self-guided tours. There's a hot dog and burger vendor on site. There's reduced admission for coming on this big festival day. Adults, $8, youth 6 to 16, $5, 5 and under are free. They also have started a new series of classes, which are going to be about once a month for the length of the summer. I can't remember what month they stop, but you're going to learn different skills at these self-sufficiency skills classes. And what they are doing Tuesday, June 23rd, 6 to 8 p.m., registration required, is they're going to be showing and demonstrating wool spinning. And I think it's got some hands-on activities. My guess is they're going to be doing spindle drop spinning, which is just a lot easier to do with a huge group of people. My cousin Kristen was excellent at this. I mean, super excellent. She hasn't done it in a long while, but I may see if I can get her to do it for a video sometime. That sounds fun. All right, so they're going to have these different skill classes. If you are going to be in Malone or around Malone, you may see if you could go to get in, because I think it sounds like an incredibly good idea to get something out of your visit. Old World, Wisconsin, Eagle, Wisconsin. Old World, Wisconsin is a very well thought of living history site. They have had a long connection with Laura. It has varied very much over the years. Sometimes they just have one day. The year I went to it, it was one day on a Thursday, and they had over 2,000 people. Do not expect that many people for events today, not just Laura events, but museum and historic events in general, and to a lesser extent events overall, just have had a really big drop in attendance. But honestly, it is worth going to whatever they're doing. So like I said, they had a one-day event, they had a weekend, They had a weekend shoved in with another event combined. They had one year, they had an entire, I think 6 weeks was the longest one they had, where they had special Laura events every day. Now they have kind of, for the last few years, kind of pushed it down to being Laura events as a week camp. So right now they have Big Woods Adventure Summer Camp divided into 2 groups, camps designed for grades 1 to 3, ages 6 to 9, and grades 4 to 6, ages 9 to 12. And they only have the Big Woods Summer Camp set up for the younger grades. If you have a kid who is between 6 and 9 and you go to Old World, Wisconsin, you can do a trip. You can have them do this one-day camp with all sorts of different Laura-related events, and I think it sounds really fun. Old World, Wisconsin is worth a visit in general. My only complaint about them is that it was designed by a historian, not a museum person. They thought it was very important to separate the different time periods and the different ethnic groups and the different farms. So it's a long way to walk over uneven ground between one and another. They do run trams, at least they did when I went, but it is worth a visit, whether they're doing the day camp or not, especially the work they have done on bicycles and bicycles' impact to our culture when they first came out. Highly recommend Old World, Wisconsin in Eagle, Wisconsin. Also, Century Village Museum, and I am going to say this completely wrong, and I apologize. I have no idea. Geagua, which is Geauga County Historical Society in Burton, Illinois, is also having a day camp from Monday to Wednesday this coming week. And it's going to be from 10 to 2. Tickets are $65. It's a 3-day camp designed for youth 5 to 7 and will offer pioneer crafts, hands-on activities, and guest speakers to bring history to life. And that also sounds fun. Another Laura event in Illinois. Illinois is really coming on this year. Blackberry Farm in Aurora, Illinois, is going to be having Laura Ingalls Wilder Day, Sunday, June 14th, 2026, noon until 3:30 p.m. Spend a day living in the 1800s, just like Laura Ingalls Wilder and her family did. Enjoy activities such as candle dipping, weaving, and making butter. Children will get the opportunity to check out the one-room schoolhouse and play games in the schoolyard. The event is included in daily admissions. Blackberry Farm used to have this brochure, and the background of it was cross-stitch embroidery, and I actually copied a couple of those designs and sewed them on things because they were, I used those as the basis because they had, you do not need to hear my background on cross-stitching, but it really is a beautiful brochure. I used to hear about this place a lot. Honestly, I haven't lately, so I don't know too much about what's going on there, but it sounds like it's worth a trip if you are somewhere near. June 14th, Blackberry Farm, Aurora, Illinois. Laura Ingalls Wilder Legacy and Research Association is having a Little House on the Prairie discussion thing Saturday, June 20th, 2026. And it's going to be, and I'm going to read them all because I appreciate them putting them in. Noon Eastern Time, 11 Central Time, 10 Mountain Time, 9 Pacific Time, 1700 hours Greenwich Mean Time, 1800 hours, or 6 p.m. Central European Time. Isn't that great? I really appreciate them putting all that in. I tried to do that with my blog posts when I am scheduling them ahead, and I just really think it's great they did that. You must pre-register for these events, and I think you do have to be a member. Each event will take place on Zoom and last for about an hour. They've been doing a series of these. I have not been doing really good at attending all of them, but they are good events. And that is it. I have one presentation this month, which is going to be at a conference next week, which is the Association for Living History Farms and Museums, and it's going to be at the Henry Ford, and I'm planning on getting some video there. This is, of course, a place where Laura and Manly visited during their trip to Detroit for her being there for the Children's Book Week speech, which a lot of people hear about. So hopefully we'll get some footage from that. And that should be it for this month. So far, I've gotten a couple shorts posted this month. And last month, I did get one published about lilacs, but it was a close thing because it seems like spring is on fast forward this year. I did get a second video edited, but I went ahead and loaded it to be released next April. So hopefully we'll get more done this month. And with that, I want you to remember that you can find me all around the web under Trundlebed Tales. Thank you for joining us on Trundlebed Tales, your favorite Laura Ingalls Wilder podcast since 2011, with host and creator Sarah Utoff, editor Sarah Utoff, producer Sarah Utoff, aka It's Just Me. Find me all around the web. On my blog is trundlebedtales.wordpress.com. On YouTube is Trundlebed Tales, and on Twitter X as Trundlebed Tales, and on Instagram is Sarah Utoff. So find me wherever you look, and remember to brighten the corner where you are.